Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
Hey everybody, this is the Digital Asset Investor. Now, let me tell you what. In the group today, I'm going to show you something that blew my mind this morning. I don't get my mind blown very often about XRP. I've been in this too long. But let me tell you what, I'm going to show you something that blew my mind, and I'm going to take you back and show you something that from my history here on XRP in social media, and then I'm going to show you something that was said in the last couple of days, and I'm telling you, it'll blow your mind. Go to DAIXRP.com to join through the Patreon, or you can click the join button right below any of my YouTube videos. And before we get going, I wanted to remind you, if you want to secure your assets through cold storage, secure off-site physical storage, yes, for retail. And if you also want no accounts and sign-up costs, no obligation to trade, accounts can be used at your leisure, no fees to talk to your broker, which you actually have, and you have an email and a phone number you get, no fees on spreads, deposit withdrawals, one flat fee for buy, sell, swap orders, regardless of the asset, complexity of the trade, access to institutional grade liquidity, and when we finally hit our bull run, this is going to be more important than you know. If you want all those things, you can go to Caleb and Brown. What you do is you go to xrpwealth589.com, and it'll forward you to my link here on Caleb and Brown, and you hit the sign up today button. I couldn't even tell you how many people are signing up right now through this. A lot, okay? 29 days until XRP Las Vegas, folks. We're only 20. In fact, I was talking yesterday to Brad Cummings, and I was like, man, it's time for me to go clothes shopping. I don't think I've mentioned it on this channel, but I have dropped a lot of weight over, and I'll tell you later how. I've dropped a lot of weight over the last 8 months. You know, once you cross 40 years old, it gets tougher and tougher to drop pounds, and I always had a hard time finding the formula, but I found it finally. It took me years to really find what worked. And I had some guidance, but anyway, dropped a lot of weight, folks. So I have to get new clothes. I'll put it that way. So I got to go deal with that. And you're listening to someone who never goes clothes shopping. I hate clothes shopping. I was the kid in the mall. My mom used to drag me to the mall when I was a kid, and it was like pulling teeth. I would be underneath the clothes racks just finding those little pins because I was so bored, just something to do. And I think my kids are pretty much the same way, but I don't, just going to malls in general, people don't even do that much anymore, I don't think, at least not where I live. We've got a 223 XRP, 2.97 trillion. Boy, this market just feels like it's going to take off. Here, look, we've been through 100 days of the front end of what I think is going to be this new reset of the financial system, the United States and the world. I think the next 100 days is going to get really fun, not just for crypto, but primarily for crypto, but for the economy at large. Here's the Treasury Secretary describing what we've been through and where we're going.
Larry, it's just the momentum. Is President Trump, the amount of momentum, the transparency, the energy that he has brought back to Washington, as you said earlier, the common sense, look at the success on securing the border. Everyone said, oh, this can't be done. And some of the targets that the Biden administration had were in the tens of thousands. And I think a few weeks ago, 9 people came across the border, most of whom we let in for medical reasons. So, it's the enthusiasm. And I think what we've really done here is deals. So we've worked on deals. There's a peace deal, there's a trade deal, there's a tax deal, and the first 100 days has set the table, and I think the next 100 days we're going to see the fruition of all those.
Next 100 days, folks. Now, you got to listen to this. This is I guess this guy is from Swift. Listen to what he says, folks. The writing's on the wall.
So we are into this, phase now in terms of digital payments that, digital has kind of essentially, beaten physical, if you see what I mean. But there's now going to be a tussle between different formats of digital payments instruments. Gayatri said gave one characteristic of accounts, but there's another characteristic of accounts, which is all accounts are liabilities. Not all tokens are liabilities. Bitcoin, for example, isn't a liability. It's not a promise to pay. Nobody owes you anything. It's an intangible asset, a thing in itself. Some tokens are liabilities, like a central bank digital currency is a central bank liability. So what I would say is that we really need to examine the tokenization thesis. And part of the attractiveness, and I think this is something really important for SWIFT members to consider, part of the attractiveness is that tokens potentially collapse messaging and settlement into one. Whereas in the SWIFT network, in normal correspondent banking payments or in domestic account-based payments, the functions of messaging and settlement are separated. And the reason is because accounts are really artifacts of double entry bookkeeping. Again, they're liabilities of one institution towards their depositor. So the token argument, or part of the token argument, is do away with that construct and have the thing in itself be the exchange of value.
All right, now look at this. This is from Smoke. Ripple's the most advanced player in blockchain when it comes to combining messaging and money transfers. Okay, messaging, SWIFT. International transactions require a globally accepted cryptocurrency. Yes, XRP will be required in international transactions. Fedwire and Target 2 are used for gross settlement. Blockchain can combine messaging and transfer of money explained above, but for international transactions, this would require an international cryptocurrency. Ripple is the most advanced startup in this field. And then this right here, you got to listen. This is Eric Trump. What do you hear when you now look? I know that the messaging has to be about the Bitcoin psyop, but that's not what he's saying here. He just can't come out and say it, folks. I'm telling you with everything in my being that he is not describing Bitcoin. He's describing what we've been studying and focused on for all these years.
And the willingness to again say yes, back to the first part of our interview, the willingness to actually look forward and realize that the modern financial system is broken, it's slow, it's expensive, and there's nothing that can be done on blockchain that can't be done better than the way that the current financial institutions are working. SWIFT is an absolute disaster. There's not a week that goes by that I'm either trying to send out a wire on a Friday afternoon or trying to receive a wire on a Friday afternoon. You're worried if you're going to hit that 4:00 cutoff time.
Wires. Who's been talking about replacing Nostro Vostro accounts, which is what all these banks use worldwide to be able to do transfers with each other? Who's been talking about that?
You might not see your, whatever funds you're supposed to be receiving in the ordinary course of business, for another 72 hours or whatever it might be. It's insane. Why do banks work 9 to 5, with a long lunch break, Monday through Friday? It doesn't make a whole lot of sense. It's, you could go try and get a mortgage in the United States or really anywhere else around the world. But, you and, whoever your spouse is, you could sit there for 90 days, 120 days going through and know your customer with a bank that's literally been your banker for the last 25 years. And it takes you 120 days to get a mortgage to buy a house. By the time you get the mortgage, the house that you want to buy is already gone, and your dream's already imploded. Like, this isn't modern finance. This is incompetence. Try and transfer money across the world. You want to go buy a watch. You want to go buy a car. You want to go do whatever it is. The banks take half of that. You have currency conversion rates. You have all sorts of things. You have to find a branch bank in a country with a banker you've never spoken to before. You don't even know if they're a real life banker or they're a fraudster.
I mean, this guy sounds like Brad Garlinghouse when he's talking about putting your money. It's faster to put your money in a suitcase and fly to the place than try to use the SWIFT system.
Whereas you can open up a DeFi app right now. You can open up, any cryptocurrency app, and you can send money wallet to wallet instantaneously without, the expense, without the variability. Our banking system is broken. Our banking system is antiquated. Our banking system favors the ultra wealthy. And what actually got me into it is the fact that I realized our banking system, it was weaponized against the vast majority of people in our country, either the people that don't have the zeros on their balance sheet or people who might have worn that red hat that said, "Make America Great Again." And it forced me into the crypto world. And I'm telling you, if the banks don't watch what's coming, they're going to be extinct in 10 years.
All right. Now, where have we heard something similar to that? Well, this Christine Lagarde clip. Now, remember, she's with the European Central Bank now. I think she may have been with the IMF at the time, or she may have been with the ECB at the time. This is the same woman who's talking about putting the digital euro out right now. This is what she said about these banks.
The difference will not be between those who are disrupted and those who survive, but it will be between those who are cannibalized because they are not seeing it coming and they're not embracing it, and those who
the banks will be cannibalized.
Self-induce that cannibalization, and I'm using cannibalization on purpose because it's a bit of a striking, horrible word, but it's really what it means. It's you're going to disrupt your business model, you're going to change it, you're going to reduce your cost, you're going to expedite your transactions, and you're going to continue to inspire confidence because you will build that on the basis of an existing backbone, which is your bank and the confidence relationship that you've established with your customers. So that's where I see changes happening now. If you think of Circle and Ripples and all those, that's where they are active and helpful. The difference will not be between...
Kept it going too long. And then we have, this is interesting too. Maybe I don't want to go too far here. You know what? I'm going to put this in the next video. I got so much more. It's crazy. I want to blow your mind. And so I want to blow your mind about XRP. And so that's what we're going to do in the group. And I'll just give you a teaser. 100 times. You're going to want to see this. Go to daixrp.com. You can go to daixrp.com to join through the Patreon, or click the join button below this YouTube video. You're going to want to see this. Trust me. I'm the digital asset investor. I'm not an investment advisor. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please subscribe. Hit the like button. Tell your friends and family. Away we go.